Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Shell Place here at McDonald Island Park for our second set of presentations tonight as part of our 17th Here For You community engagement session as part of our community's recovery effort. I'm Adam Hardiman. I'm with the Wood Buffalo Recovery Task Force, so pleased you guys could all join us here tonight, and to those of you watching across the internet on Facebook Live. So it's great to have you with us once again. We're going to have two presentations this evening like we had at 4:30. The first one will be on FireSmart activities taking place in the Birchwood Trails, and the second presentation will be on the Small Business Support Program, Phase 2, which was announced last week, a partnership of the Canadian Red Cross and the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo, specifically Wood Buffalo Economic Development. So again, great to have you. Before I introduce our first set of presenters, I want to thank all of our partners for once again joining us. Of course, we have the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee here tonight, Kim Jenkins over in the open house portion as we speak, members of the task force, the municipality, specifically our economic development department tonight, as well as public operations and many others. And as always, with us every step of the way through recovery, the Insurance Bureau of Canada, the Red Cross, the Government of Alberta, the YMCA of Northern Alberta, and Ensure alongside many other partners. So to start things off with our first presentation, we're going to hear from three individuals from our Public Operations Department, the Parks Branch. We'll have Stephen Fudge as well as Kyle Poole, and Brian Reed with Infinite Forestry, who's a contractor on the work going on in the Birchwood Trails. Following that, we will hear from our, Economic Development Partnership. We have Amanda Haydes and Andrea Haley from Wood Buffalo Economic Development. They'll be joined by Guy Chaquet from the Canadian Red Cross. So without further ado, we'll start things off with our presentation on FireSmart activities in the Birchwood Trails.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Kyle Poole. I'm a landscape architect with the Parks Branch of the Public Works Department. So we're here tonight to go over three important topics regarding the Birchwood Trails FireSmarting projects. First of all, we'll talk about FireSmart's principles. We'll give you some background on the contractor, who is Infinite Forestry, and a general overview of the project. So I'm going to hand it off to Stephen Fudge, who can talk about FireSmart and what is FireSmart principles.
Hello, everyone. Stephen Fudge. I'm superintendent with Public Works. FireSmart. FireSmart is composed of a lot of different principles, and it's basically living with and managing for and mitigating the risk for wildfires. The Birchwood Trail project applies the principles of vegetation management. So what that means, we'll be helping to reduce the fuel loading and mitigating the risk of wildfires in this area by removing all dead standing trees, thinning and pruning of standing trees. So what we're trying to do is prevent the risk of crown fires in that and slow that fire down, create a defensible zone. And then removing and properly disposing of debris by various methods that doesn't support the movement of fire through that area. So during that process, we had to select a contractor, and we did that through a competitive bid process. And we were very concerned because we understand the nature of the Birchwood Trails and the importance to the community and the sensitive nature of that area. So we were very careful in selecting a company to do this work. So through that competitive bid process, Infinite Forestry Consultant Limited was a successful bidder, and they were selected based on their experience in doing this kind of work. They've done this work for over 10 years. They've done it in very environmentally sensitive areas, areas that have also experienced wildfire. Some of those places were Slave Lake and Town of High Level. And they've had a considerable amount of experience working in urban environments and doing these kind of mitigation measures in and around homes, residents, and that sort of thing. So they understand those sensitivities, and that's certainly something that we're looking for this project. So scope of work, I'll pass this back to Kyle.
Thanks, Steve. So an overview of the scope of work. Basically, this project encompasses 95 hectares, which is primarily located along the exterior edge of Birchwood Trails. And the work will take place over a 3 to 4 month timeline beginning in November and continuing into 2017. And there will be temporary trail closures as the contractor moves throughout the trail system to ensure public safety. So more specifically, the contractor will thin and remove trees where needed and remove all debris from the project site. So primarily, they're going to be taking out all the dead, diseased, blow-down wood to remove this as a fuel source in the event of a future wildfire. And the live standing spruce will be thinned to 3 to 4 meters between crowns. So removing and thinning just the live standing spruce. The contractor will be disposing of the wood in 2 primarily methods. One is wood salvage, where full-length spruce logs will be brought to the edge of the road and locations and made available to the public for firewood. And the other is pile and burn, where tops and other debris will be piled into manageable size piles and ignited and burnt to dispose of the debris. And it's important to note that this controlled burn will be monitored, and it will take place when there's frozen ground conditions and snow cover, so there's no threat of the fires getting out of control. It's also important to note that this process, unlike phase 1, is not a clear-cutting operation. They will just be going through and thinning. So here again you have the project plan, and in orange is outlined phase 1, which was the dozer guards, the clear-cutting. The work that Brian and Infinite will be doing is the purple area. So again, going through, thinning out, taking out all the dead material, and thinning the live spruce. Here you have a map illustrating the locations of firewood that will be made available for pickup. So over the course of the project, as the contractor moves around, there will be approximately 15 locations for firewood pickup that are made available to the public. And you can also view these maps online and in our information booth. Okay. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Brian, who's going to talk a little bit more about his company, Infinite Forestry.
Thank you, Kyle. My name is Brian Reed. I'm the owner of Infinite Forestry. We're based out of Grand Prairie, Alberta. And I just want to take a few moments of your time tonight just to talk about a few of the specifics and the process that we will follow here on the Birchwood Trails FireSmart project. We are by no means, we're not the traditional loggers. I refer to ourselves as urban forestry people. We have all small equipment that's, over the years, we've tried to gear ourselves to a lot of this FireSmart work, small projects, sensitive terrain, in the backyards and within the communities. We've worked in very similar scenarios. We worked in the town of Slave Lake after that fire, doing some of the cleanup work and FireSmarting some of the remaining forest stands as well. And we've worked for 4 years within the Wapiti Nordic ski trails in Grand Prairie, so we recognize the inconvenience that we cause to a lot of the trail users, the hikers, the skiers, and so we try to implement some measures there within our process to help that go as smooth as we can. We know we're going to have an impact, but we try to reduce that. We just want to talk about a couple of the machines we use. We know a very stressful or visible portion of the FireSmart work that we would produce here would be the burning of the debris. The first step that we go through is to remove the dead standing trees as well as the dead material that's on the ground already. And one of the ways you can get rid of that is to take it off-site and burn it. We know that the visible smoke, the embers, it can be very anxious and stressful for you folks that have gone through what you have. And so one of the ways we can reduce that impact is to salvage as much of the wood as we can, and that's where the firewood has come from, that if we can utilize some of the dead standing wood out there as firewood, we don't have to burn it. So the amount of smoke and burning is drastically reduced. So a couple of the machines that we We also would use potentially, these are mulchers. The machine on the left, we use a lot of skid steer equipment for most of our project, rubber track machines that are sensitive and easier on the environment, especially with the conditions out there right now, the ground is not frozen yet. So, we use a smaller equipment that's about the size of an ATV, maybe just a little bit larger, but, we're able to wiggle in and around the trees and really go after the dead material versus cutting a lot of live ones out of the way to get access into the project area. So the first step, we salvage what we can for firewood if the material is sound, and then if it's not, then we have to get rid of the remainder. So then we look at two options. Either we would burn it on site in debris piles, or if the debris is light, we would use one of the mulchers to mulch it up and reduce the forest fuel loading. So a couple of this examples, these are the machines that you would see out there on the Birchwood Trails. So the machine on the left is again a rubber track skid steer that we use to gather up the debris. It would carry it out to burn piles. The machine on the right, same machine but with a bit different attachment. It can actually cut the tree and carry it, so it's not dragging it across the ground, but it can carry it off-site to produce either firewood, or if it's not sound enough, it would go into the burn pile. So. And just a couple of slides. The one on the left here is a completed FireSmart stand in the town of Slave Lake, so after that fire. And this would be a very similar prescription to what you guys have here for the Birchwood Trails, in that it included pruning, but the debris is picked up off the ground. It's relatively clean site, very few ladder fuels to help a fire get up into the canopy. The stand, the picture on the right, is also a completed FireSmart job, but it was just strictly to pick up the material that was on the ground. There was no pruning involved with that one. So just an example of what it should look like. It won't look like a clear cut in phase 2A. Strictly, we're really focused on the dead material, whether it's standing or on the ground, and a little bit of thinning out the live ones to just open up the stand a little bit to reduce the chance that a fire is going to carry from tree to tree. I just want to, reassure you guys that we are good at what we do. It will look good when we're done. We will try not to impact the users any more than necessary. There's a kind of a phased approach that puts proposed dates at which we will travel through and around the perimeter of the Birchwood Trail. So, that's our best estimate right now in terms of how long each package will take. But we'll try to limit our impact. And if you do see signs, it means we're actively working in that area. We take our signs down as soon as we've moved to a different area of the trails. So if you see our signs, it means there is men and equipment chainsaw operators in there working, and we ask you to please be safe and work with us with this project. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Brian, and thank you, Kyle and Steve. You guys did a much better job than Brendan, but we won't tell him, right? He was here earlier. No, Brendan, you did a great job. You're watching again, and Brendan Urin does great work for the municipality. So to all you guys, thank you so much. We'll go to questions now. Do we have any questions? First, we'll go in the audience, and then if we have anyone joining us on Facebook Live that has any questions for our FireSmart project in the Birchwood Trails. So anyone in the audience, any questions? And we'll go to you first, sir. Now, we'll ask if you can speak into the microphone. And we'll bring it over to you, though, if you want. Or you can go up to it. That way the people at home can hear your question. So it's up to you. We can bring you one, or you can go to one. So, okay.
Hello. Would it be possible to start up like a Facebook or Twitter account to notify, like on a daily or weekly basis, which trails will be closed?
I think we can definitely do that through our municipal social media. So we actually have our social media advisor right here to your left, Jenny Walker. So she's the person to ask, but that's certainly, we could do it through at RMWB Buffalo or on our Facebook page, which we're on right now live. So I think we could commit to that. If Jenny, I don't want to speak for her management, but I'll talk to her staff later, and I think we could do that through our municipal social media. Would that work?
Yeah, or I'm one of the organizers for a hiking club in town, so it would make it easier for us to plan and stay out of their way.
Jenny, is that something we can reasonably commit to? I'm not putting you on the spot live on TV, but... Okay.
We need an answer now.
No. Does that work for you guys? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think because that way, if we create another handle or channel, we'd just be retweeting it with our own municipal social media because that one has more followers. Yeah. So it might be better just to use our actual municipal one. We'll make sure to stay on top of it.
Cool.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. Great question. Okay. Any more questions from the audience about Birchwood Trails FireSmart project? Robin, do we have any questions coming in online? Are our economic development folks ready to go for their portion of the presentation? Okay. So we'll move things along. We'll go to our second presentation this evening. This is on the Small Business Support Program. The details, Phase 2, were announced last week. This is a partnership between the Canadian Red Cross and the regional municipality Wood Buffalo, specifically Wood Buffalo Economic Development. So you may have heard a lot about it. There's a lot of buzz in the community. It's been in the news. But here to lead us through this presentation, we have Amanda Haidas, we have Andrea Haley, and we have Guy Choquet from the Canadian Red Cross. So guys, take it away.
Thanks, Adam. And thanks for saying my last name right after saying it wrong about 100 times. So, I'm Amanda, and I work for economic development with the municipality, and I'm here today to give a brief outline of what it is we're up to and how we're supporting our businesses locally. During the evacuation, we were all working from St. John's to Alaska on a business and economic recovery plan. So this was during the evacuation, and we were really trying the best we could to get something in place so that we had supports available for the businesses before they were coming back, during the reentry, and then after the reentry. So on May 25th, when we were still evacuated, we were able to get the Business and Economic Recovery Plan approved by Council. And the plan basically focuses on 3 phases. And right now we're far away into Phase 2. And tonight what I would like to do is give an update on all 3 phases. And I would also like to say that since the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee has been formed and the task force has been formed, we're making sure that everything we're doing ties into the economy pillar so that there's no overlaps or gaps. So the 4 bullet points that are on your screen, the first 2 really happened during the evacuation process. So a hotline was issued immediately, and we were able to communicate with businesses, telling them information about what the reentry process will look like, offering any available information or supports that we knew of at the time. And we, through that process, had over 16,000 calls. So it definitely was a tool that was used by a lot of businesses within our community. We also had issued a survey through the hotline, and we heard from over 4,000 businesses, which gave us a really good understanding of what the needs were of the business community. Since then, we've been using this information and basing a lot of our decisions on that. The top 3 trends that we were hearing from the survey, insurance issues with cash flow, and operational challenges such as staffing and cleanup and those sort of things. And a lot of these pieces actually still hold true for today. When we get into the 3rd and the 4th bullet point, we have our business recovery expos. Oh, sorry, I totally skipped over emergency relief for businesses. That constituted the Phase 1 funding from Red Cross. So that was the $1,000 that was given to businesses as immediate financial relief. And that process has closed, but there are updates, and we'll be providing those to you shortly. The 3rd bullet point, which is the business recovery expositions, we did do the YMM Home Show in August, and at the time we were actually planning the show during evacuation, and the whole point was to provide residents with an area where they could go and really get the information and the resources they needed in terms of finding out the local companies who will be rebuilding, who can offer reconstruction, landscaping, all those things. We had over 2,000 people attend that. And based on the demand, we're actually having a home builder expo coming up during the Fort McMurray Tourism's Christmas market. So we will have local builders there, and we encourage builders who are out there who want to be involved in that process, please contact us at choosewoodbuffalo.ca, because we are looking for vendors to take part. And we want to make sure that our local businesses are there and have priority. The fourth bullet point, which is the Back to Business Resource Center, is definitely one of the biggest supports that I would encourage all businesses to take advantage of. And within that center, you will find access to you'll find access to our partners. You'll be able to meet with Insurance Bureau of Canada, Community Futures, Chamber of Commerce, Fort McMurray Construction Association, and NABA. And you can also find access to computers, scanners, internet, anything like that you need in terms of material we have available at the center. Within the center, we also have, and this is where I think the most value is added, is our coaching program. So we've got the CMC coaching program, which basically stands for Certified Management Consulting Program. It's free. This type of program would cost quite a bit of money if you were to typically pay for it, but we are in a position right now where the government of Alberta is funding all of our programs through the center. So I would strongly encourage businesses to take advantage of this while it is available. And it's one-on-one, so you can get advice on anything you want as it relates to your business. We also have Ask an Expert program, and we focus on accounting, legal, marketing, and business startups. And that also takes place on quite a regular basis. If you go on choosewoodbuffalo.ca, our calendar of events is there, and you'll see what's coming up. We also have a ton of different educational seminars that are focused on many different areas. And you can see from our screen here what kind of things we're providing education on, and we're always open to new topics. So if you have any suggestions, please reach out because we want to make sure we're offering something of value and that makes sense. So basically everything that I've gone through here, it's available on choosewoodbuffalo.ca. So keep checking that website because it's updated regularly. As we get into our phase 2, we have 3 main priorities, and the small business financial aid is a huge one. We have a whole presentation on that just after I finish here in a minute. So I'll leave that for Guy Choquet from Red Cross and Andrea Haley from the RMWB to focus on. I would like to talk about the last 2 points, and one is that we are conducting an economic impact assessment, and that's something that will be of value to businesses, to the municipality, to people who are living here. And really what this document is doing is it's helping us understand what has the impact been to Wood Buffalo from the fire, and also even backing it up a bit and looking at pre-fire. So we were in an economic slowdown, and understanding where we were before the fire is just as important to understanding where we are today and where we're going. We need to know what the projections are and sort of where we're falling into this recovery piece. And we also have our 2017 Wood Buffalo Economic Development Strategy, and we will be out there and we'll be engaging with businesses and the community, so stay tuned for that. That's coming into early 2017. So I would like to pass the mic over to Guy, and he'll speak through the business support that is offered for financial relief. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm pleased here to share our collaboration with the RMWB about our small business program. But before I share details, I just want to share what small business means to me and to many people in this community. I'm happy to share that my brother just celebrated 60 years of service of our family business that my parents started when I was a child. And I remember being a child and people would come to our home. We had an office set up in our home where people would come and do business with my mother. It got busier, and then she had her own office. I was the oldest child, so I babysat the kids while mom was still at work. So For me, it's important to recognize that small businesses often means family businesses, and the impact of an event that occurred here has an impact on the business itself, but also a profound impact on the family as well. So it's very important for us to recognize the personal nature of small business, what it means to families. The program was announced last week during the Small Business Week, and again, the collaboration stems from the original work that we had done with the RMWB, with the economic development. The first phase of the program, as was described, was an immediate $1,000, just like a small cash relief. We assisted almost 4,000 small businesses with that program, and so the Red Cross portion of the small business program is up to $20,000 per business. We're entering into phase 2, and the importance of collaborating with the municipality is our program is going to kind of focus on the direct expenses portion, and I know Andrea's going to be able to share the portion from RMWB. And the collaboration is meant to make it easier for small businesses to apply, so it's like a one-stop shop, and there's one website, one helpline, and as you can see, the dates is from October 19th to October 16th. The reason that those dates are there is to be able to gather the information and to be able to distribute funds as quickly as possible. We have engaged with Marsh Canada, who are specialists in this area, and we're utilizing them to administer this program. This program is it's a web-based program, and that's meant to actually speed up the process. So as I said before, the objective of this program is to provide financial assistance for fixed expenses as a result of business interruption and the expenses incurred for the wildfire. And some of the requirements to be able to meet the requirements for the Red Cross portion is, as you can see, is to have been an active resident with a RMWB business license. And I know Amanda's going to be able to provide details on that. Andrea. Sorry. And also that the business was operating within the RMWB on May 3rd, having filed tax returns within the last 3 years, be a small business, which means defined than less than 50 employees, located or headquartered in RMWB, plan to resume business in RMWB, and in need of financial assistance. So some of the examples of expenses that are eligible would be items such as tools and equipment that are damaged as a result of the fire, assistance with cleanup, moving, storage, cleaning, small repairs, utility bills, lease payments. And so basically anything that's a direct expense as a result of the impact of the fire are eligible for this program. So.
Great, thank you, Guy. The Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo has allocated a total of $15 million to its Small Business Workforce Support Program, with a total of $5 million being delivered as immediate financial assistance, and the remaining $10 million dedicated to long-term recovery efforts. The municipality's Small Business Workforce Support Program directly responds to the most urgent needs of our small business community impacted by the Alberta wildfires. The needs were identified through minister roundtable discussions, stakeholder engagements, over the 4,000 surveys completed, and our Business Walks program, where we go door to door to businesses. The needs identified were financial assistance and workforce challenges. Therefore, the goal of the program is to help small business employers by providing timely financial assistance to offset costs related to hiring, keeping, and attracting employees. So I'm just going to go over the minimum requirements to apply. So a business must have an active resident business license. Please note that there are exceptions for this requirement for businesses located on First Nations lands. The business must have been operating within the municipality on May 3rd. The business has filed a tax return within the last 3 years, reporting business income with the Canadian Revenue Agency. And the business is a small business, which is defined as having 1 to 49 employees. Therefore, the business must have at least 1 employee to a maximum of 49. I would like to note that changes in employment have been taken into consideration, so businesses that had employees pre-wildfire that no longer have employees due to the wildfire are still eligible under this requirement. And lastly, the business needs to complete the survey questions in the application. I just wanted to bring up a few things about business licenses as we get a lot of questions about them. So firstly, as the municipality recently transferred their business licenses into an e-permitting system, in order to provide each business adequate time to reapply for a new license, the municipality extended this year's expiry date, so all existing licenses will be honored until December 31st, until a new one can be issued. So your April 30th, 2016 license will be honored until December 31st, 2016. Now, if you were operational on May 3rd but did not have a business license, you can actually still apply for one during the course of the program to meet this application requirement. We do strongly encourage you to apply as soon as possible, as it does take some time to get a business license. So how do you apply for one? You can follow the link provided on the slide, or you can actually go to our Planning and Development Office on 309 Powder Drive.
Thank you. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about the application process. As we said earlier, this is a collaborative approach, so it's a one-stop shop. And you can see the online application form can be located at that website. Actually, the program information is also available on the Red Cross and the RMWB website, and there's going to be a link to the program. So basically, when you go to the website, you basically create a user ID, provide contact information, and then the application provides you a step-by-step guide of the information that you are to provide. To date, there's been about 1,000 applications, and as I mentioned, we've assisted almost 4,000 small businesses, so we have a little, almost a third of the small businesses that have applied. So I guess the message we want to encourage people is to start your application process. As you go through the application process, you're going to see a variety of documents and information that's required. You can stop the process, go back, find the information, and return to the process. There's also a section at the end of the process that allows you to have kind of a open-ended statement of your specific need, and so we encourage everybody to go online and start the application. And this slide here shows some of the information that you should get before you start, or is required as you go through the process. So that would be your business license number, your Canadian Revenue Agency business number, Alberta Workers' Comp's board account numbers. I know there was a question on the break. What if I don't have Alberta Workers' Compensation? Again, we just encourage everybody to fill the application as best as possible. Marsh Canada review the applications, and they're going to be able to determine the exact need of the information that's required. Again, the number of employees that you have, your tax returns, your tax assessments, and again, we encourage you to apply. And as far as how quickly money is going to be dispersed from the Red Cross portion, once the applications are complete, we should be able to provide financial assistance within a few weeks, and I will let Andrea explain for RMWB.
Thank you, Guy. So just a little bit differently than the Red Cross, for the Small Business Workforce Support Program, fund disbursement will happen after December 16th. And so we're looking probably at January when all of the funds will go out. And as Guy mentioned, Red Cross will be before that date of December 16th, and so that's the difference.
And so we have also, there's the helpline. That's the same number as before, where people can come, can give a call if they have troubles with the application. Actually, people can go on site at the Back to Business office and meet with the staff there to help them with the process. If you need to have assistance, like to upload documents or scan documents, that assistance is there.
And so the programs have been designed for you to be able to go online, and if you need support, we have the helpline, so you can actually fill out the application in the comfort of your business or your own home, and just call the helpline for that support to complete the application. But there are other supports in place. So we do have information sessions at the Back to Business Resource Center on 9816 Hardin Street, first floor of the Hardin Street building. And so we have 2 information sessions running tomorrow. As well as that, we also have rural information sessions happening just so that we can actually provide the same in-person support and equipment support to the rural communities for them to be able to apply for the application within their community. So between the dates of November 1st to November 17th, we'll actually be going out to various rural communities and bringing a mobile office with us, which includes computers, scanners, printers, and internet rocket sticks, so that you'll actually have the equipment in case you want to apply for the programs on the spot with us. And we'll also have the administrator with us to answer any questions with your application. And so I believe that brings us to our conclusion, and with any questions, we do really want to say we strongly encourage all small businesses to apply for the programs. And when you're looking at the minimum requirements, if there isn't such a fit, it's possible that there actually is a fit. Say that you're a newer company, you started before May 3rd, but you haven't filed tax returns for your company yet. That is taken into consideration, and we still want you to apply, as that will be taken into consideration. Thank you very much, and if there's any questions.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda, Andrea, and Guy, for that presentation once again on our small business support program. So do we have any questions from our audience tonight for our presenters? Doesn't look like it. Robin, do we have anything coming in online on Facebook Live? Looks like we're all right. So we're going to wrap up after these 2 presentations. Our 17th Here For You session will be here until 8 o'clock this evening, or as long as it takes, to make sure that we're here for you, communicating all the information you need about recovery. Once again, I'm Adam Hardiman. Great that you could all join us here tonight at Shell Place. The next Here For You session will be next week in terms of the regular time, 4 to 8 on Thursday. We'll remind everyone that's watching, we'll also be at the Golden Years Society tomorrow morning from 9 to 10 in partnership with the Insurance Bureau of Canada to bring recovery issues to our seniors. And then on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Doug Barnes Cabin up in Thickwood near the Birchwood Trails, we'll be holding another information session on the important FireSmart activities taking place in that area. So once again, to those on Facebook, watching online, to those of us here tonight, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your support, and we'll see you all again very soon, safe, resilient, together. Thank you.